Hello and salam Malaysia Madani. Welcome to On the Table. We are broadcasting on RTM Click and MyTV's Berita RTM channel 123, which is also live streaming on YouTube. I'm your host, Brendan Lepal. Good evening and salam Malaysia Madani. Today we celebrate the hardworking individuals who keep Malaysia moving. Now with this year's theme, Pekerja Kesuma Bangsa, we not only honour their contributions but also highlight a crucial issue, occupational safety and health, especially as technology and AI reshape our workplaces. Now in this episode we'll explore what Labour Day 2025 means in the digital age. Joining us is Engineer Tajul Arifin Muhammad Nori, Head of Analysis and Research Forensic Engineering Division from the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, or DOSH. Welcome to the program, sir.
Hi.
Right. Now, DOSH, or most of us know it as DOSH.
Right.
So the question I would like to ask you, sir, is how is DOSH adapting, to the rapid digitalization of workplaces, especially with the growing use of artificial intelligence and automation across industries in the country?
Okay. Thanks, Brendan, for the question. So, as for DOSH, under our OSH, OSH is the Occupational Safety and Health.
Right.
OSH Master Plan 2025.
Right.
So we have a specific strategy under this OSH Master Plan, under the strategy 6.
Right.
We have this consolidation of technology.
Right.
So with this, we have a few programs to ensure that we can implement this strategy. Which I can mention is that number one is the IR 4.0 Center Smart Workplace Development.
Right.
And second is development of technology ecosystem in OSH. And the other one is OSH risk management through digital technology.
Right.
And apart from that, since 2019, DOSH have assigned a special task force to look into the challenge and the opportunities that digital transformations can enhance our regulatory and enforcement activities to improve the workplace safety and health. And also under our 12th Malaysia Plan, we have adopt some of this digital transformation, like we develop the AR/VR lab, augmented reality and virtual reality lab.
Right.
We adopt the AI for our big data analytics to develop our OSH profile.
Now, sir, I would like to ask you, you mentioned augmented AI and VR in enhancing this experience altogether. Let's talk about accuracy.
Okay.
Is it accurate?
Well,
it paints a real-life scenario in that sense?
Yeah. In our AR and VR environment, for my case, normally we do the accident investigation in traditional way before this technology come in. We do it manually by doing the measurements using, the measurement tools.
Yeah.
But when this technology come in, we use the 3D scanner, the LiDAR from drones, and it captures all the accident data. And we get, I can say, we got almost all the data. Then, of course, the accuracy is very accurate, where we can do the analytics later in the virtual environment via this AR and VR lab. Yeah.
Fantastic to use the technology these days. Now, you mentioned Industry 4.0. It's incredible that you mentioned that. What new occupational health and safety risks has DOSH identified, with the use of AI? There's so much to talk about right here, robotics, and also smart technologies, at workplaces?
Yeah, of course, with the advancement in technology, we foresee that there are new risks, that we need to highlight to the industries, because they will be exposed to this tech device and everything. For example, now we have robotics to aid the humans' activities, which can boost their productivities.
Right.
And of course, by having this robotics, they have their intelligence. However, they have also flaw. For example, maybe during the operation, it might cause some breakdowns.
Right.
Okay. When this breakdown, there are risks where it requires human interaction to troubleshoot these robotics and everything. And in my experience, we see in automotive industry, for example, they use the robotic to assemble the cars, to do the weldings. We have some cases occurring frequently in the industry where when this technician come to do the non-routine works to maintain the robotics, suddenly the robotic activate during the maintenance work, cause the injury, and some cases cause the fatality to the workplace.
Right.
So we foresee that even though we rely on this technology, it still have a certain risk that can affect the workers. Yeah.
And these flaws are definitely troubleshoot, and to make sure that it does not happen in the future, or at least to reduce the risk of injuries.
Yes.
And what's most important is that we don't want any fatalities.
Yes.
Right. Now, does the current Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA 1994, adequately cover emerging risk, linked to AI and digital systems? Or, are there any plans to update the regulations?
Okay. Talking about the OSHA, it's a very, I think in our country, it's a very unique law where the OSHA is established on the spirit of self-regulation. The self-regulation means the employer, they can do any method, any approach that they want to do their undertaking to deliver their service or products, as long as they can ensure the safety and health of their workers. So this law is very unique that when you want for the employer to adopt a certain new technology, new approach, they don't need to go any bureaucracy or red tape. They can adopt that as long as the adoption does not cause any health or safety issues to their workers. But to ensure the safety and health of their workers, they need to do the risk assessment. Reassessment. Actually, it's already in the law. Even though there are new technologies coming in, the employer needs to do the assessment whether this new technology will not harm their workers. So I think this OSHA already covered the AI everything, as long as the employer do their assessment.
It's incredible how the Health Act, which is OSHA 1994, it covers, and it's more than not. It's like a form of a guideline that employers can actually move around it and make necessary amendments and changes to make sure that people are safe out there. Now, sir, what is DOSH's strategy, in ensuring that SMEs, which may lack digital expertise, we cover a wide range, and we would like nobody to be left out. And what is also ensuring that safe practices is adopted while digitalizing their operations?
I think we are very supportive to the SMEs, and we know that in our country, SME is a part of our economic contributors. So we have a special division that look into these SMEs, and we assist them in terms of this technological approach, how they can adopt this. For example, the mobile apps that can help them manage the OSH at their workplace and promote the local technology vendors in terms of arrangement to do the risk assessment. Because since a few years back, we noticed that some vendors already coming out with the better tools to adopt the technological approach to support these SMEs.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Now, we are going for a quick break, if we may.
Okay.
And after, when we come back, we are going to be talking about how DOSH will monitor and ensure occupational health standards are maintained, and how is that going to be done. But we'll be talking about that right after this.
In 2025, Malaysia proudly leads the ASEAN community into a new era of unity, growth, and opportunity. Together with 10 Southeast Asian nations, Malaysia is driving progress in trade, innovation, sustainability, and tourism. Explore the best of Malaysia, from its stunning landscapes to its rich cultural heritage. Be part of global events, business summits, and exciting festivals throughout the year. Join us in 2025. Discover new connections, celebrate unity, and experience the future of Southeast Asia. ASEAN Malaysia 2025. Together, we rise.
And welcome back. Thank you for your company. Now, on today's episode of On the Table, we are speaking to engineer Tajul Arifin Muhammad Nori. He is the head of analysis and research at DOSH. Now, coming back to some of the questions that we have for you, sir. Given the rise of remote work and digital offices, how does DOSH monitor and ensure occupational health standards are maintained from employees for employees working at home?
All right, a very interesting question, because I think now is the post-pandemic time. So, like I mentioned before, the OSHA put the statutory duty on the employer to ensure the safety and health of their workers, as long as the workers is doing the employer undertakings.
Okay.
So even though the workers bring back the work task activities at their home and working remotely, so the duty is still on the shoulder of the employer to ensure the safety even though at home. So with that, the way they need to ensure is to have the risk assessment conducted. If the workers will be doing the work at home, how the environment, the setup and everything will be considered by the risk assessment.
Right.
And as I can see, maybe I can share my experience during
please.
our COVID-19, while we are working at home. I noticed that, of course, we as kids, our spouse is doing their works, and so we have to share the workstations.
Correct.
Sometimes you don't get a proper workstation because you need to prioritize your kids to their homeworks.
Sure.
Sometimes the meeting. So this will we have the issues like the ergonomics issue. So, but during the COVID-19, I experienced some shoulder freeze because I don't do my work properly. I mean, the way, the posture I sit to do my task is not proper. So with the prolonged sitting awkwardly, so it caused me some shoulder freeze.
Right.
So with that, the way DOSH support this working at home environment, we come out with the guidance, industrial code of practice for ergonomics. So employer can do the assessment based on this guidance. And the way your question to maintain and monitor the way to monitor this because we have a limited number of resources, and we currently, based on the complaints and the notification by the employees.
Correct.
If when they experience some safety or health issue while working at home, then they complain to DOSH. We will do the investigation and maybe see the arrangement. Is it the employer has provided a proper resources for their workers if they allow them to work at home.
Now that you mention, thank you so much for actually saying that, because I think not many people out there would actually know that this falls under the same act, even though they're working from home. Right? And the question is, maybe perhaps I would just like to ask you for your POVs. You know, why would you think that there's probably a lack of information being shared to the workers out there, especially employees, that they don't know that this falls under OSHA? Because when we speak about OSHA, we would just think that it happens, or it's only in the public setting, but not at home.
Yes. So, in my opinion, if you ask, I think this is related to we need to improve our promotional activity to let people know that there are actually in our country there are laws that cover this working at home.
Right.
Even though it's not indirectly, maybe we are working to have this proper guidance specifically for working at home. But at the moment, we still drafting that regulation and the guidance. But at the moment, I think what we need to do is to promote the OSHA, even though it's already there for the past 30 years. 30 years. But we still need to ensure that this will reach the public.
Right. And would you say a given organization is responsible for ensuring that their employees totally understand about this?
Yes, because the OSHA put the statutory duty on the shoulder of the employer. They are also supposed to highlight this to their employees.
Right. Okay. Now, let's talk about the biggest challenges that DOSH faces in regulating new workplace environments. You know, we're talking about smart factories, co-working spaces, and also gig economy platforms. So what would it be in terms of the challenges that, you know, DOSH faces?
So far, on this, you mean the new technology, right?
Yes.
So we still monitoring on the adoption of this new technology, but we find it is actually aid the industrial setting to improve their productivities, the way they deliver their service, and also actually this new technology it help improve the safety and health. For example, like doing the inspection for working at height, they instead of by climbing all the way up to the top floor, they can now just deploy drones to do the monitoring.
Okay.
So the way I see is more positive instead of negative.
Right. Yeah. And those are the biggest challenges that DOSH faces still today.
The challenge we face is to make sure that more people adapting to this technology, so we can improve the safety and health at the workplace.
I think it's fantastic that you mentioned that. You know, it's about still incorporating these ethics and standards so that people would know and they can use technology to do difficult tasks instead of them doing it manually. As you just mentioned, climbing up the stairs, you can just use drones, you know, you don't have to do it manually. Thank you for actually mentioning that. Now, of course, following up to this question, how is DOSH addressing mental health challenges? Yes, we can never let this off the block, you know, that arise from digitalization, you know, at the workplace. We're talking about stress, you know, from surveillance, technologies. Job insecurity is something that we would like to highlight as well, due to automation and digital fatigue.
Yeah. So I think a few years back, discover that there are hazards known as psychosocial hazard.
Right.
Okay. Even though it's caused by these digital or technological devices, but since 1996, we have this guidelines called the visual display unit, where, of course, when you are dealing with digital tech, we always exposed to the screen or monitors.
Correct, that's right.
And even you're using the headset, AR, VR, your eyes will be fatigued. So we have this guideline, VDU guidelines, visual display unit guidelines, to help prevent any occupational health issues. And we also have this guideline for preventing workplace stress and violence, where it also covers the new how we can manage stress linked to a new technological. And recently, I think maybe last year, we have this guideline on psychosocial risk assessment and management, with a structured approach to addressing these mental health issues coming from the technological device.
Okay, and where do we get all these guidelines? Is it made available to the public in that sense?
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure. I think, in my point of view, DOSH, we have established a lot of guidelines, guidance, and we always put it for free in our webpage because we know that safety is
a priority,
and required by everyone. So all our guidelines, everyone can download from our webpage.
And what's the webpage?
www.dosh.gov.my.
Right. Yeah. So those are the informations and the long list that you can, so viewers at home, that can visit and to find out more about DOSH and more. Now, sir, there have been criticisms that enforcement and inspection resources stretch thin. You know, how is DOSH planning to use technology, like AI or big data, to improve workplace monitoring and also accident prevention?
I think that question is very related to our topic discussion today, AI. So, a few years back, we already adopt this big data analytic. So, of course, when there are accidents or notification of dangerous occurrence, they need to report to the industry. Our employer required to report to our department. So, over the years, we have collect a lot of data set. So, from this data set, we are using AI to come up with a dashboard that we can identify which of the sector. I mean, we come up with the OSH profile, and we know every year which sector that we can prioritize to do the targeted enforcement. Because our manpower is quite limited as compared to the size of industry. So by having this AI, it's very helpful for us to plan and strategize our inspection and enforcement activities.
And with regards with the things that you mentioned, it also covers accident prevention?
Yes.
Like you mentioned, the usage of augmented reality. Yeah.
So with this AI, by having the enforcement activities from the previous year's data, we can predict where we need to do more enforcement. So by doing the enforcement, it helps the industry to prevent any occurrence at the workplace. Because when we do enforcement, we issue the notice, stop work orders when we notice that there are dangers at the workplace. So we put a mitigation strategy before the accident can happen.
Nice.
So this AI is very helpful for us.
Looking forward. What is DOSH's vision for Malaysia's occupational safety and health landscape in 2030, particularly with the continuing AI revolution and also digital economic growth?
Okay, so our enforcement strategy, typically we have this master plan, OSH master plan, every 5 years. So for this master plan 2035, we are toward the ends, and like I mentioned in our 12 Malaysia plan, we do a lot of digitalization to improve our enforcement activities. And our upcoming master plan 2030, we also put as one of the agenda in our master plan, because I believe that this digital transformation will be something big in our economy.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's a landscape that keeps changing every single time, especially with the advancements of AI technology, so on and so forth. We mentioned about the Act of 1994, which is the OSHA, and with regards to the advancements of all these technologies every single year, companies out there should also be notified that whatever amendments that could be done or would be done, it can also be reflected on that particular act.
Yeah.
It does not change.
So actually, to share with you, we have this recent amendment in 2022 for the OSHA, because previously on safety legislation, we have two main acts. The first one is Factory and Machinery Act and the OSHA Act. So now we have this FMA, Factory and Machinery Act, already been replaced by the OSHA. Only now we only have one single law to regulate and manage the safety and health in our country. So the amendment cover, as compared to previously, we only cover 10 sectors. Now we cover almost all the workplace in our country, even including the gig economy.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now, talking about covering all areas and all aspects, this is the last question I have for you on today's program. So, now Malaysia unfortunately still records a high number of workplace accidents. We're talking about in construction, manufacturing sectors. So, how can AI, the use of technology, help DOSH better predict, prevent, and do some investigation work, with regards to these incidents?
Okay. Now, very interesting. Let's go to the construction first, and maybe I can point some view.
Just a quick one, sir.
Yeah. With the AI and the advancement that I mentioned, we have this drone to do the enforcement, and it's very intelligent. Where when we deploy the drone to the construction site, it already can notice whether the workers is wearing the safety helmet or not. They are wearing the lanyard or not, or any non-compliance at the construction site can be detected by just deploy a single drones, which is more effective and more efficient.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are basically part of the usage of technology.
Yes.
And there's so many more.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. That's all the time we've got for On the Table this evening. So we've been talking to Engineer Tajul Arifin Mohammad Nori, Head of Analysis and Research, Forensic Engineering Division from the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, DOSH Malaysia. A repeat of this episode's broadcast can be viewed again at the same time tomorrow and subsequent days on both RTM Click and MyTV's Berita RTM channel, as well as Berita RTM YouTube channel. Till next Thursday, where we'll discuss another topic of interest. I'm Brenda Lepal. Thank you for watching. Take care.